Alrighty, we're going to install a GFI circuit breaker for a 220 240 volt circuit. Here in the country I was born in, we use 14 American wire gauge on 15 amps, 12 American wire gauge on 20 amps, 10 American wire gauge on 30 amps. Black is live, white is neutral, the bare or the green is the ground. Red and blue are also live colors. However, you may find white live in a 110 120 volt switch loop or on a 220 240 volt circuit where the appliance does not require a neutral, such as this 220 240 volt circuit that does not require a neutral. So what we're going to wire today is a GFI for a 220 240 volt circuit, and I'll show you how to do it for both an appliance that does not have a neutral and again with one that does have a neutral. So first we'll take our GFI breaker. We put it in the box like this, push it in, and this white tail wire will go over to the neutral bar. So we can bring it up over this way, bring it over the top, up here. Okay, make sure our strands are together. We'll open up our terminal. And make sure we get all our strands through the terminal and we don't get our insulation pinched. Okay, we'll make sure our white wire is up away from everything up here, and we'll put our Romex connector into our box here. And we'll just tap it tight with our screwdriver. Okay, we'll slide our wire up. We're going to go into our breaker box here. We'll just bring in what we need here. We'll tighten our screw. Now this is all going to be enclosed going down to the hole where our wires come up through. They'll put a 2x4 on each side here and a nice piece of paneling over the whole thing, and it'll come up flush with the bottom of the box, so all our wires will be enclosed because you cannot have Romex exposed. So now we'll get our wire stripped. Okay, now I'll bring the camera down closer so you can see. Okay, so first I'll show you how to do it when you're have just a 220 appliance without a neutral. So normally that would be black and white. So you would take your black and your white, bring them down to the corner, bring them up, bring them over, and you would put your white where down here there's a terminal and your other live terminal is right here. like this. And then you would put your red tape there to remark your white wire live, because those are your two live terminals. So one will go here and one will go here, like that, with this white wire remarked with red tape. And the bare ground wire would go on the ground bar, which is over here. So we'll bring it up, we'll bring it over. And since this is a sub panel, the whites and the neutrals have to be kept separate. But if it's a main panel, they can be together. So I'll put this together as if we're doing a 220, 240 volt circuit without a neutral. So then we will hook we'll strip our okay, then we'll take our red tape, we'll remark our white wire live up near the breaker. And it wouldn't matter which live terminal you go to. You just make sure you don't get your insulation caught under the terminal. You put your black one down here. So that would be how you would wire it for a 220, 240 volt circuit that does not have a neutral. And of course you would match the wire size with the circuit breaker. Here in the country I was born in, we use 14 American wire gauge on 15 amps, 12 American wire gauge on 20 amps, 10 American wire gauge on 30 amps. And that's for both 110, 120 and 220, 240. So now we'll wire it for something that's 220, 240 that does have a neutral. So we'll unhook all these here. Okay, so we have a black which is live, a white which is neutral, so we will take this red tape off. Okay, so here in the country I was born in, white is the only color allowed to be used for a neutral. So now on the GFI you'll see the white tail wire here that goes up to the neutral bar, and then you'll see this little screw back in here. There's 3 of them. We will bring our white wire up to that terminal, so we'll bring it down, bend it over up here, and we will put it in our white terminal. So we can clip it off a little bit here. When you put it in, you just want to make sure you don't get your insulation caught under the terminal, or you don't want too much bare wire sticking out. Now the red and black, it doesn't make a difference because they're both live. So we'll bring our black wire down to our corner, bring it up to where we're going to turn to go into our breaker, and we're going to put it right here. Make sure it goes in all the way and our insulation doesn't get pinched under the terminal. You make sure it's good and tight. And we'll bring our red wire down, and we'll come it up, and we'll come over to our other terminal right here. Make sure we get our wire in our terminal all the way there. So all our wires are nice and neat. And now I'll bring the camera down close so you can see it. So that is how to wire a 220 240 volt GFI here in the country I was born in. Peace. Thanks for watching. So you see the white neutral on top above the tail wire that goes to the neutral bar, then the black and red below it. And there's both breakers in the panel. And there's the whole entire panel.